Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, our next guest has augmented a degree in industrial psychology with studies in neuro-linguistic programming, reflexology, and life coaching. She is a prolific writer who has become something of a niche expert in the field of decluttering. Kate Emmerson, welcome to Afternoon Express.
It's so fantastic to be in your loft. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I remember a few years back, I was feeling quite heavy, and a dear friend said to me, start clearing, spring clean.
Clever friend.
And let things go in your house, and you will in turn feel lighter. Is this the essence of decluttering?
Completely. It's about simplifying. It's about getting out of overwhelm. I think of it a little like having too many browsers open on your computer and everything starts shutting down and closing down. So it's about releasing energy and being a little lighter.
How do you physically go about decluttering?
So like practical steps?
Yes.
So I always say I believe that anybody can do it if they're given the right steps and the right hints and tips and advice. So I always start off with 3 questions. So the first one is grab a pen and paper if you're at home. Do I love it? Not like, love. It's got to
This is a tough question.
No, it's love. You know if it makes you smile, like you just did. Not of that, like, yeah, sure, it's okay. It's not an okay, it's a love. That's the first one. The second one is, and this is where we can con ourselves, do I use it? Okay, so that, you know, maybe
it's difficult when it's wardrobe items.
No, exactly. So wardrobe comes with a little kind of add-on, which is, have I worn it? You know the rule for the last? Yes. She grimaces at me. And then the third one, which actually is the most important one, is does this, whether it's stuff, a person, an energy around you, does it add value to my life? Because then it links to the definition which I teach, which is clutter is anything that no longer serves you.
I'm a big believer in, like in my home, having an environment around me that is beautiful and that makes me happy.
Exactly.
So decluttering is huge in that.
Exactly, and it's about respect for me. It's quite a spiritual concept, but it's respecting your space. I mean, can you imagine if this beautiful studio was filled with stuff and magazines everywhere and dirty cups and just people wouldn't watch the show. They want to take a deep breath and they want to be inspired. And so that's how we need to feel when we open our wardrobes or walk into our homes or go into our garages, heaven forbid. We want space so that we can always have the energy of new and fresh flowing through our lives.
That's so important because that really does change your mindset.
Completely, and it is a mindset.
Okay, but what happens, because I'm a big chucker, but I know like my mom isn't, she can hold on to things that are sentimental. What happens when you've got sentimental
absolutely.
things?
So I don't say people have to throw away anything. So for example, this is my granny's Tiki bracelet. You know, she lived to 97. I've been wearing it for a couple of years and I love it. I also lost it once and I had to go, oh my goodness, I've lost Gran's bracelet.
Oh no.
And I had to kind of deal with that because we associate people to stuff. So you don't have to let go of anything. What I say though is it bringing you joy in your life? And if not, then maybe it's time. So it requires honesty. It requires courage. I also talk about how do you let one, like almost be personify many. So do you need, let's say you've got 40 tablecloths from Granny, okay, who died 50 years ago, and you really don't love them, but you think, well, let me keep one, and maybe the one you frame, or you use the one, and the others perhaps...
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so bring them into your life. I remember once working with a client, and she had kept like years of, do you remember the old movie stubs? Like they were quite big and she had a pile of them, kind of like a wad of money. And she was a scrapbooker, but they were taking up all her space in a room that she wanted for
Dust
scrapbooking.
collectors.
Exactly. And so we said, why don't you let one and scrapbook it and allow it to just be beautiful and meaningful and empowering.
Like the best movie.
Exactly. It's just, I think about having clarity about what's important to you, because often people don't look at their stuff just out of default and they just keep stuff year after year.
Exactly.
And I think for me, it's about not believing that we are open to change. So our tastes change, our bodies change, our, you know, what we love changes. And if we don't look at our stuff every year, what's that saying about our self-respect?
Yeah, you've got to let go of the old to allow for the new.
Exactly.
Now, clutter is one thing when it's got to do with old furniture and movie stubs, but what about emotional clutter, like emotional baggage?
So I think that for me, you know, there's a triangle for me. So there's the body, the emotional, and the physical. So that's the stuff that every single one of us deals with because, you know, some of our viewers might be fairly organized in their physical space, but we are human creatures, so we always have stuff going on with people. And so
I collect people, I must be. I really do.
Every now and then you might have to let 1 or 2 of them go. I remember when I was about 20, my dad irritated the heck out of me by saying, we are who we hang around.
Yeah,
And
but
I was
it's
like,
true.
It is true, but I really didn't like him saying that. And I've learned that as I get older. And, you know, you don't just willy-nilly just toss people out of your life. That's so superficial. But are people really adding value, or do we need to learn to say no? So emotional clutter can be boundaries. It can be about taking the mask off. It's all those annoying little things that are incomplete.
Are you your best self around the people that you hang around
Yes,
with?
and are you your best self around yourself?
Yeah.
So how do you respect your own emotions and your own emotional intelligence? And are you true to your word? That's a form of emotional clutter. If you say, you know, New Year, I'm going to start gym, and you don't, that's clutter. Because now what happens is it's like you leave a thread of energy that's not completed. You need to tie a little bow or bring that energy back to you.
Yeah.
So that I always talk about, if you were to leave the planet today, do you feel complete? Are you up to date, or do you have any regrets? So the emotion, people often think it's all the negative emotions, that's all that emotional clutter is. No. And we almost judge those emotions. So betrayal, guilt, anger, resentment, all of that stuff.
But we do physically hold on to them almost.
And it's right here, exactly.
You can almost feel it, like a physical manifestation inside
it's
of
in your
body.
solar plexus. And I talk about, imagine fishing lines that you can't really see, but at the end of it, put a big bottle and add lead poisoning. And it's like, so,
heavy.
Yes, and it's like that sparkle in our eye. Do you have that, you know, the French term, the joie de vivre? Are you present? You do. But we can see when people don't have that. And what happens, though, is often our physicality, the space around us, starts reflecting what's going on in our psyche, in our mental space. And I know for myself, if I'm feeling a little scattered, a little overwhelmed, a little too much going on, I stop putting things back kind of where they go, and then I look at my space and I go, what the heck's going on? And I kind of vickle it all back. But, you know, it takes practice, and it takes awareness, because quite often we're just numbed out of our lives. And our space reflects that. And so I always say to people, sometimes take a person with you into your space. It doesn't have to be a professional organizer or a declutterer, but a good friend that is strict with you. And not about tidying up your wardrobe, but saying, what might this reflect?
I've got a spare room that is just full of everything. It needs to all go. You've inspired me.
That can be called a scare room instead of your spare room. Or I talk about wardrobes. You know, when you take off your pair of skinny jeans and then a sweater lands up and then someone's underpants and then a towel, and so it becomes a wardrobe rather than a wardrobe. But it's about... I talk about the concept of, can air come and move everywhere? So spirit, flow. And so people put stuff under their beds. And what does that say about how you rest, how you rejuvenate, your relationship, if you're sleeping with a partner in the bed? What does it say about that? If you've got all this junk underneath.
I'm totally inspired. There's all of this information in here.
It is. So that is the how and the why. It's practical, it's down to earth, it's as cheeky as I am, and it does all 3 types of clutter, so including body clutter.
Is that like going to exercise and like shedding weight, like decluttering the 3 kilograms?
It could be, but also it's just anything that steals, I said earlier, the sparkle in your eye, or your vava-vom, we love that word in South Africa. So anything that makes you feel tired, headaches, lethargy, illness, stress, it's not about weight, you know, chicks always go, weight. It's not about that. It's about, do you have enough energy at the end of your day to live and love your life? That's what it's about.
So you're obviously very good at compartmentalizing things in your brain, and I can see you do the same with your luggage.
I know, you're a great traveller too. And
I'm a traveller, and that's how I roll.
I travel the world. My gran taught me to roll. You know, and there's a great Japanese organizer at the moment that's almost doing origami with clothes. It's fantastic, but often people do piles, you know, so they'll put all their shirts in a pile and put them in the suitcase, but then you've got to try and get through them, whereas here, I can literally see my entire wardrobe, and rolling also, you know why we do it, it doesn't crease as much. And people go, no, you have to fold. No, rolling is fantastic. So I open it up, and I've literally got my entire wardrobe there. You pull one thing out, and you don't mess your whole case. It's so easy.
How do you balance this decluttering and rolling with time management?
Well, they're very linked. So remember I said too many browsers open? Because if you've got clutter, you're going to be wasting time, whether it's looking for something or because you're not feeling so great in your body, or you're worrying incessantly about that argument you've had with your friend this morning. So it's going to eat into your time. So it's not just about, oh, I can't find my lipstick, where's my lipstick? Which can be, you know, where's my lipstick? But it's just about, are you taking care of what you need to in the right time, or have you got so many things pulling at your energy that you're never present? So for me, clutter is about being never present.
Kate, what can our viewers do if they want to know more?
Viewers can go to my website, kate-emmerson.com, and on the front page they can literally sign up for Spring Clean Your Life. And what I'll give everybody so Afternoon Express viewers, is 7 days. So literally every day, one email going, just do this today, so it's not overwhelming. And then tomorrow, you just have to do part 2. So it will take them through sequentially 7 days of starting to clear their stuff.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for this interview. Really, I think everybody needs to get their hands on this book and literally just declutter from their lives to be present. That is so important. Thank you so much for chatting to us.
Pleasure.
I'm going to clear out so much now.
And your wardrobe, Jeannie.
The wardrobe. Oof, no. Now, as you can see, decluttering has a huge impact on our physical and mental well-being. And speaking of well-being, make 5 Roses green tea your beverage of choice this year. Not only will you find it super refreshing, but you'll know that every cup you drink is really good for you. Now, to win a fabulous 5 Roses green tea gift pack containing perfectly pure green tea and green tea flavored with lemon and lime, apple and pear and mint, and a copy of Kate's book, Clear Your Clutter. Simply SMS the keyword 5 Roses, your name and city to 33728. SMSs are charged at R1.50 each. T's and C's apply and are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. And until next week, remember, nobody makes better tea than you and 5 Roses.
How you doing, YouTube fam? Thank you so much for watching, sharing and commenting. We love hearing from you, so be sure to keep up to date with all things Afternoon Express by clicking the subscribe button right here.